All right, commence team. I just wanted to shoot this introduction video to get you familiar with the Google Sheets and how you'll be able to access all the workouts and previous workouts that we've done. Um, Please let me know if you have any questions after this. Just a quick video kind of giving you a lay of the land of what this looks like using Google Sheets for the programming template. So if you notice at the top, it has days of the week, and then on the side, it's going to have each week. So um, this first section, I have not filled that out. That first blue section I have highlighted currently right now. That is where you can put in a kind of what the template looks like. So if I know I'm going to have maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we're going to have a strength session and then a traditional CrossFit workout after some workout prep, I could put that in there just to give kind of an idea for each template what the focus is each day. And if I know Thursday is usually it's a 2 option day, that'll be in that box, and that way whenever you scroll down, you'll always these first two cells are frozen, so that you always be able to see that regardless of where you're at. And then we could copy and paste those previous templates and put them back in the past training templates that we've had. Currently, I haven't been operating off of this yet because um, the introductory phase, I wanted to keep it more traditional CrossFit where it's really constantly varied each day. And we even had variance within a lot of our strength lifts so that we weren't necessarily hitting on a weekly basis a Monday deadlift strength session before we had a workout. So that template and filling that out would have been too non-specific to really even warrant writing that in there. So it didn't. And then on the side here, you'll notice this kind of first row, you'll notice that it's a description of kind of where we're at in the training phase. So if I'm have a block of training that we're focusing on something in particular, this is a good way of kind of communicating that, and I will at a later point kind of talk about the color coordination I use for that. But this first template, I just titled it something generic, A1. It was our introductory phase, and it was 7 weeks long. So it started at the sixth there, and I also kind of worked back. So I knew after 6 or 7 weeks of training, I wanted to do a deload week. So that was week 0, and then I counted up from there to get me back where I was. This was that first week, May 25th was the first week I came on board and started programming. Um, any workouts that are not written by me, I'm going to explicitly say that here, as it was on Wednesday there. So this, and I actually forgot to put it on this snatch technique work. Some of these were thrown over elements from Bergeron. Was this snatch technique work, this conditioning session along with the gymnastics, and then I think that was it for that week. So, and if you notice, this Monday was a CrossFit main site workout, so I explicitly put that. But everything else I've been programming. Um, I'll explicitly say whenever that's not the case. Now you also notice whenever I put my cursor over a cell, it allows this text box to come up here to the side where you can click show more to see all of that. And what this is a comment. You can comment on each cell. And if you are trying to add a comment, you can right click and then insert a comment. But if you'll notice, it also says Control Alt M, and if you hit that kind of quick key, Control Alt M, it will allow you to do the same function of creating a comment. And what's great about these is that we'll all be able to add comments to each cell if we're talking about the same thing. And this will become later when we talk about the takeaways. That'll be more applicable when we talk about the takeaways. But what I want you to realize is don't resolve any of these. So if you see how I put my cursor over the check box there, it says mark as resolved and hide this discussion. I actually don't want to resolve any of these because it then will hide them. So don't click on that. One thing I'm also going to do is I'm going to lock some of these cells. If you notice the lock here in front of this master um, explanation, or excuse me, master programming sheet here. Um, I'm gonna have it locked to where you can't necessarily mess something up on accident by accidentally deleting something or adding something you didn't mean to. But I'll have to see kind of what that looks like on your side if you're still able to make some of these comments, view everything, and things like that. So we'll kind of have a discussion once y'all get familiar with this and play around with it. Um, so you should notice, in these comments, I try to keep these relatively in the cells relatively clean and not have it too cluttered. So if you'll notice things that include the warm up and extra information you need about certain portions of maybe warm up, strength, and metcon are clearly labeled within the comment to provide an organized way of giving more information when you need it, and potentially video links like there is in this one. So that's just kind of the lay of the land of how you would use that. You can see we go from this A1 introductory template all the way down to where we had our deload week. And then the next week started this testing phase. So um, that's where all this is clearly laid out. And as you scroll down, you just go from week to week. So we also see kind of future planning out here, tentatively potentially having to open around this time if it's the same time as last year. So this Google Sheets is really effective at being able to allow you to see things clearly in a weekly format, and then also in the context of each training phase that we have, and then as well as how that fits into a month, a week, and a yearly basis. So I hope you enjoy getting to see this. That way you can see everything. We've got the week of July 20th coming up as I'm shooting this video, and you're able to clearly see kind of every component of this week that we've got during this testing week. So um, one thing you can also do is you can hit function at 11 if you're on a PC, and it'll allow it to go full screen to give you just a better view of this. If you're on your computer, it's going to be a lot easier to look at this on your laptop. That doesn't mean you can't look at it on your phone, but if you kind of want to get a good idea of things, you may want to look at it on your laptop. Um, but you can also download Google Drive and Google Sheets and be able to access from there as well if you need to, if you're on the move or remote and don't have your laptop. Um, for this week in particular, you'll be able to see kind of mm, the prep for certain things. So here I have the deadlift, but at the comment, you can provide all the prep for that if you wanted to follow this structure. And this gives a little bit more information that you need to spend 15 minutes with this instead of 15-minute clock. There's nothing kind of that we talked about with the workout prep that I didn't cover in the video, but then you notice for the Metcon, you'll be able to see the scaling options here. So let me know if you have any questions about this. This is the main template. And then if you access the other tabs, you can go to different areas of this Google sheet. So the next one, this is all the previous at-home training. It's essentially the same format there. This is the thing I want to spend a little bit more time on and really help y'all understand is this takeaways from the training phase. So now that you'll have access to this, I'll make sure you can add comments, but this is something that I've kind of retrofitted. If this was an individual program design writing up for a person, this would be where they would put in all their results relative to what was programmed and be able to put in kind of how they felt that today and overall scores. I can explain that more in depth later. If they had any video links of any of their PRs, they could put it there. But how we're going to utilize this for the gym programming is this allows us to clearly have each day and then write our thoughts on how the programming went. So this kind of art of programming, there's an art and a science to it, and you use the science part of it to understanding how people are responding physiologically, and you do your best to program on the front end, but then kind of what makes this so good is it doesn't end there. It doesn't end in the planning process, but you also have this review process and see how things went. So you notice here I've entered in some comments just to kind of learn from the programming over time. To and this would be a great way. I know specifically in the past, kind of the workout prep on some of these may have seemed too long. This would be really good because we can get very specific on which ones we thought those were. Um, so like this day, so we had some clean practice, the workout prep, and this tough workout, interval-based workout with the wall balls, handstands, and AMRAP of squat cleans with the time remaining. So this was just notes to myself, but what y'all will be able to do is either reply to that or add your own comments in addition to this. So I talked about how I needed more scaling options. Um, for these people that couldn't handle that rep scheme, that's a good amount of reps. That's a really challenging thing to try to hit. And I may not have had enough options for people for fitness and scaling. I may not have educated enough before the workout to try to have them scale appropriately. And I also underestimated the effect of pre-fatigue shoulders from the wall balls going into the handstands. And this is actually a workout I wrote maybe almost 2 years ago now. And instead of handstands, I had pull-ups. So due to the logistics of the class with COVID, I changed it from pull-ups to handstands, and that definitely could have had the major effect on why this may have not as been as good of a training piece as the one I wrote up a couple years ago. So this is just a quick example of showing kind of um, how we can go through, and with subsequent iterations of programming and templates, I can get better at programming by actually learning from implementation. This comment I made on a Wednesday, I didn't even coach, so that's where y'all's information about how people were responding within the session, and then with the context of the week, if they were extremely sore from previous days, that could take an effect on how they're responding during this session. So um, since I didn't coach that day, that could be good information I get from y'all. And this isn't me trying to really up y'all's time that you have to spend with this. It's just being able to provide the opportunity for y'all to put your thoughts on these specific days. Um, this was me talking about kind of um, broad picture, maybe down attendance and what that was potentially a factor of. So that's an example of how we'll utilize these takeaways. You'll notice with this day, so it's really easy to make this really organized. So I put the comments relative to each section. So like the gymnastic conditioning, I put all the information necessary about that. Um, and then you'll see the same thing for the Metcon here. And then kind of just overall um, how that class went. This isn't a structure I want to try to do with every class, and obviously I haven't been keeping up with this as well as I'd like, but definitely on the days where things may not have gone as planned or we may have gone over, like in this day in particular, there's just a lot packed into one class, and that may have been too much. This may have been more appropriate towards the end of a 6-week, 7-week, 8-week training block where we've tried to build up a lot of volume and we're intentionally trying to push people, but maybe not appropriate early in the training block. So I just wanted to kind of let y'all know, or kind of let y'all see the back end of some of this and give y'all at least just the opportunity to chime in on this so I can get your feedback. You could also put your feedback in the programming channel of Slack, but this may be a little bit more appropriate to put it on the specific day so that it's just a more organized format and more user friendly. So just kind of looking at a random cell here, you can see I'll kind of go through the process of showing that where you can create a comment. You just add stuff in and then you comment it, and you'll be able to see that later. If you made the comment, you should be able to edit or delete it, and things like that. So just let me know if y'all have any questions. I will make this available as soon as I can get it uploaded, and look forward to talking to y'all more about it soon.